All right. Hey there, everybody. My name is Corey Jones, and I'm with Compassion Works for All here in Little Rock, Arkansas. If you're not familiar with us, we provide mindfulness and meditation programs for people who live in jails and prisons. And if you would like to learn more about us, you can always visit us on our website, compassionworksforall.org. We are also on social media channels, and just a good old Google search will lead you to some information about us. We not only practice and teach in jails and prisons, but we're also doing a few extra things out in the community as well. One of the things that we're really excited about, depending on when you're watching this meditation, this could be months down the road, so it might not be relevant anymore, but in May of 2021, the first 4 Sundays in May, we're actually going to meet outside at Murray Park down off Rebsamen Road. And we're going to have an outdoor meditation time, just community meditation time outside in the grass along the water at Murray Park. We've reserved Pavilion 6, and so you're welcome to come out there and be with us. We're going to start at 3 o'clock on Sundays in May. We're not going to meet Memorial Day weekend. So it's the first 4 Sundays in May, but not the 5th Sunday. And if you're not familiar with where Murray Park is, it's along Rebsamen Road. And the part of the park that we'll be in is near the sand volleyball courts. And there's this really cool brand new playground that they've just built. So that's the area we're going to be at. So there's a dog park there. You're welcome to bring your furry kids. If you have those, you're welcome to bring your actual human kids to play on the playground. There's all kinds of bike paths and trails. There's barbecue grills. There's all kinds of really fun stuff out there. So we're hoping for really good weather, but the first 4 Sundays in May at 3 p.m., we'll have an outdoor community meditation time, and we would love for you to be part of that. Okay, I would like to get into a brief thought today before we get into our meditation time, and that is the idea of insight and self-inquiry. I was fortunate enough to be part of a training over the weekend from the Center for Healthy Minds at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. And they've done all kinds of really cool research into not just neuroscience, but the neuroscience of meditation and neuroscience of mindfulness. And so they put together this really well presented course that about 300 people took over the weekend. And I was fortunate to be one of those. And one of the things that they presented is that when it comes to overall well-being, mental, emotional, physical well-being, they've narrowed down 4 areas that are especially critical. And those are awareness, connection, insight, and purpose. And cultivating those 4 things, awareness, connection, insight, and purpose, is one of the keys to developing a mentally and emotionally healthy life. And so they broke down each of those 4 areas over the course of the weekend. And there was one particular part that I wanted to just share with everyone. And that is the third one of insight and self-inquiry, understanding ourselves better. You can think of it in terms of maybe like evolution, that we didn't just arrive where we are today in this moment. There's been a series of steps, a series of moments, a series of decisions and choices that have landed us where we are right now. And the more we can identify those, the more we have a context and a sense of who we are and how we arrived here. And that can lead to a lot of really good mental and emotional health and well-being, because we don't just live with this isolated kind of tunnel vision of, well, this is just me, this is just who I am, this is just my life. We realize that we arrived here somehow. And so being able to tell that story, to tell that narrative, is really crucial. And I would like to share my screen just for a moment, if that's okay with everyone. It's this slide right here that I really want to hunker down on. And I was especially intrigued by this, that there are 2 ways of viewing ourselves. There's an unhealthy self, and then there's the healthy self. And as you can see, in the unhealthy self, we have a fixed mindset. I can't change. We are one-dimensional. I am an anxious person, or fill in whatever word you want to use there. I am an angry person. I am an addicted person. But we see ourselves as just one thing, one-dimensional. And we are isolated. I am on my own. No one understands me. No one else is like I am. And so this is the unhealthy view of ourself. The healthy view, conversely, is that we have a growth mindset. I can learn and grow. I am capable of changing and of evolving. We are complex. I am rich and complex. I have many identities. I am more than just one thing. And especially that we are interdependent. I am deeply connected to the world and to the people around me. And so those are two ways of seeing ourselves. And we can really get caught up, especially when we're not being intentional with cultivating a healthy mindset. We can really get caught up in that unhealthy self where we're fixed. We become convinced that we are only one thing, and it's usually negative. We rarely think I am amazing. And that's the one thing I am, is amazing. We tend to think very negatively about ourselves. So I am this one thing, I am one dimensional, and I am isolated, I am all alone. So when we're not careful, that's where our mind can start to drift. So it requires a lot of intention and requires a lot of curiosity about ourselves to develop this healthy sense of self. All right, so I want to share that as we get into our conversation today, and have that as a backdrop for our meditation time. Because insight, this ability to get into ourselves and understand how we've arrived where we are, insight is our capacity to recognize how our thoughts, how our emotions, how our perceptions all shape our experience. And it's really the key to undoing the suffering and the stress and the anxiety that we feel. And so cultivating that insight, again, starts with this act of self-inquiry, which is this intentional, curiosity-driven investigation of our self-related beliefs and our psychological processes, not just how we arrived here, but how our minds work. And it's intentional. Whereas when our minds are unintentional, we've slipped more into that rumination and letting our minds just go into these negative places. So now I'm repeating myself, so that's my key to end in my thoughts. So I hope that makes sense to you. And so as we enter into our meditation time today, I want to really hone in on those three areas of the healthy view of self: growth mindset, we are complex creatures, and we are interdependent. And so that's what's going to guide our meditation time today: a growth mindset, complex selves, and we are interdependent. All right. So I invite you now, if you're able to assume a mindful posture, whatever that means for you. And take a second to just settle in. And I'm going to begin with 3 bells. Let's let our minds be how they are for just a moment. When we intentionally slow down, everything continues racing forward. Our minds race forward, our bodies race forward. And so we're just going to allow that to take place for a moment without trying to slam on the brakes in a disruptive way. So if it helps, you can draw your attention to your body. Bring awareness to the place where your feet make contact with the floor. Bring awareness to the place where your sit bones make contact with your cushion or with your chair. Intentionally let your shoulders relax. Let your jaw relax. And if your mind is continuing to race, that's okay. We're just going to let it do its thing for a bit. We're just going to focus on the body. Notice any sensations that you might feel. I tend to feel my heart beating in my chest, my pulse really strong in my chest. Maybe you notice something like that when you're still. So begin to just bring awareness to your body. And again, we're going to let our mind do whatever it's doing. We're just going to be present physically for a moment. Notice if there are any sounds or sensations around you in the environment that you're in. And if there are, that's perfectly fine. They are welcome in this present moment with us. Don't try to tune them out. Don't try to resist them. Just name what you hear, name what you experience. And we're just getting a sense for what the present moment is right now. Let's bring our awareness now to our breath. Just gently breathe in and out through the nose. Notice if you're struggling. Notice if you're really using those upper torso muscles, your shoulders and your neck. Just let those relax. Let the breath go all the way down to the belly. And let the belly and the lower abdomen do the work. Let your belly be soft and just expand and contract like a balloon as you breathe gently through your nose. And we're still going to let our mind do whatever it's going to do. So if you notice your thoughts drifting, that's okay. If you notice the stress from earlier in the day is still present with you, that's okay. We'll get to all that. For now, just be with your breath. And if it's too much to just be with your breath and you can't seem to stop the distractions, maybe it's helpful on your inhale to think to yourself, I know I am breathing in. And on the exhale, I know I am breathing out. And you can begin to sync up your mind with your breath. I know I am breathing in. I know I am breathing out. Continue to feel yourself becoming more and more at one with the present moment. A sense of connection between your mind, your body, your breath, in the room where you're sitting. Let your mind and your body come into the same place and into the same time. And as much as you can, as intentionally as you can, keep your mind and your body together. And continue to breathe. Continue to maintain a state of attentive relaxation. And now, as we get into thoughts about self-inquiry and insight into who we are, begin to draw to mind something you've learned recently that has led to a change in your behavior. Something you've learned recently that has led to a change in your behavior. And it doesn't have to be anything significant. It can be a new food that you enjoy, Maybe a new way to save and spend your money. Maybe a new way to help yourself stay calm when you get stressed. Just bring to mind something new that you've learned recently that has led to a change in your behavior. And just notice what your mind draws out. And if you notice your mind is wandering away from this idea, gently bring it back. Bring it back to something you've learned recently that's led to a change in your behavior. And notice how it feels to see yourself with this growth mindset. Notice how it feels to see that no matter how young or old you are continuing to grow, to evolve, to change as a person. And get a sense of the openness and the joy and the satisfaction that that can bring. And continue to dwell on this for just another moment about something you've learned that's led to a changed behavior. And with a sense of curiosity, explore the ways that you have changed over the course of time, whether your entire life or maybe just over the last year or the last month or even the last week. Just ask yourself, how have I changed? And see what comes to mind. And now let's consider for a moment the ways in which we are complex beings. We are not one dimensional. We are not only one thing. We are a multitude of things. And let's bring awareness to that reality for just a couple of moments. So, with curiosity, begin to ask yourself, who am I? And notice the answers that come to mind. Who am I? Recognize that there's always more than one way to define yourself. Notice the multitude of ways that come to mind, the multitude of identities, of definitions. Who am I? And if you notice that it's a bit difficult, to draw to mind more than one identity. If you don't see yourself as complex, maybe it's helpful to simply say to yourself, I am human, and spend a moment diving into what that means and what all that entails, what all that holds to be human. Let's take just a couple more moments to continue asking ourselves, who am I? And notice what comes to the surface. Now, finally, and again with curiosity, let your mind begin to show you all the ways in which you are connected to the people, to the places, the things that are all around you. Ask yourself, how many different ways am I connected to the world in which I exist? And just see what comes to mind. How many different ways am I connected to the world in which I exist? And if it helps, you can use the room where you're sitting as a starting point. The ways in which you're connected to the chair or the cushion where you're physically sitting. The ways you're connected to pictures that hang on the wall, decorations, the ways that you're connected to the people that are also in the room or in the rooms around you. And then continue going out from there. The ways that you're connected to what's just outside, to what's out in the community around you, to the people and the places and the things in the city where you live. And continue to see all of these connections, all of the ways that your life interlocks and overlaps with the lives of others, the way that you influence people and the way people influence you. Begin to see this web forming of all the ways in which you are not isolated. You are not alone. And hold these connections in your mind for just a moment as they continue to grow and expand. And if your mind wanders or if you experience some resistance to this, that's okay. Gently bring it back and ask yourself, how am I connected? Now begin to draw together all three of these elements of the self that we've discussed. You are a being who can grow and change. You are a being that is complex and rich and multidimensional. You are far more than just one thing. And you are a being that is deeply connected to all the living beings around you and all the living beings on earth. And hold this very healthy sense of yourself in your mind with curiosity and also with confidence. A confidence in the impermanence of ourselves, that we are not static. Let a sense of gladness and a sense of joy well up inside of you, but especially let a sense of love and affection and gentleness for yourself begin to well up. If you have fallen into the habit of saying negative things to yourself and about yourself regularly, give yourself permission to now feel good things, to now feel love, to now feel positive energy about who you are in all of the various ways that you are. And with a gentle smile on your face, take one last deep inhale through the nose. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. I hope that that was helpful and useful for you. I hope it's encouraging and maybe gives you some good questions to return to during meditation times, especially in times that you feel maybe stressed or experiencing some self-doubt, experiencing self-negativity, that you'll remember that you are, in fact, capable of growth. You are multidimensional, and you're especially deeply connected to the people and the places and the things around you. So I hope you'll take that with you, and I especially hope that if you're in the Little Rock area, you'll join us each of the Sundays in May, the first 4 Sundays in May at 3 p.m. out at Murray Park for an outdoor community meditation time. So thank you all very much.